They called it the glasses of tomorrow, a marvel of design, smooth, seamless, a lens that did not just show the present, it whispered of the future. Eye-powered vision, that was the promise, to see the world not as it is, but as it will be. In a forgotten alley of a dying city, a boy named John stumbled upon them. The shop was nothing but dust and shadows, shelves sagging with relics no one wanted anymore. But in the corner, resting on a cracked velvet stand, he saw them. The lenses gleamed faintly, as though they were watching him. "See the future," the shopkeeper whispered, his voice low, like a prayer, or a warning. John laughed. How could glass and wires see what had not yet happened? It felt like a trick, like a magic trick sold to children in carnival tents. But John slipped them on, and in that moment, the world bent. He thought it was wonder, he thought it was power, but magic, as every story reminds us, always comes with a curse. He slid the glasses over his eyes. The frame was heavier than it looked, cold against his temples, as though it carried a weight beyond its shape. The world shifted. Colors sharpened, unnaturally vivid, like fresh paint still wet on a canvas. Edges blurred and then reformed, rippling like water disturbed by a stone, as if reality itself was being rewritten in front of him. And then, the first vision. A stock ticker on the wall. Numbers frozen in place, suspended mid-change, their glow humming softly in the silence. Then before his eyes, they jumped, not once, but in a flurry, digits rearranging themselves in impossible succession. The markets soared upward. Seconds later, the real ticker finally caught up, sluggish in comparison. John's heart raced. His breath came short and sharp. He blinked, rubbed his eyes, wondering if he had imagined it. But the glasses showed him again. The sound of foots, taps, a creak on the stair, a faint bending shadow sliding across the floorboards. And then, his friend appeared, entering the room only after the lenses had already shown him. The glasses were ahead of time. John laughed, a nervous burst, half afraid, half ecstatic. The thrill burned through him, hot and electric. It was as if he had been chosen, as if destiny itself was unfolding just for him. But beneath the laughter, a seed of unease stirred. He touched the side of the glasses, tracing the metal, the hidden circuitry. They didn't hum like a machine. They breathed, subtle, slow, hungry. His friend's voice reached him, casual, unknowing. But John barely heard. The visions swam again at the edges of his sight, futures unfolding like cards from a stacked deck. Money, accidents, conversations not yet spoken. All of it his to witness. And yet, each glimpse left a hollow tug in his chest, a sense that something was taking as much as it was giving. Why had these visions been waiting for him? And why? Did they feel so hungry? But then, the visions began to change. At first it was small, a light flickering where no bulb had burned out. A door easing shut without a hand upon it. Tiny fractures in reality, like cracks in a mirror that deepened each time he looked. John told himself it was coincidence, fatigue. The glasses were only showing more than his eyes could process. That was all. But soon, the visions grew darker. He saw buildings writhe and twist, iron and glass bending like broken ribs against a bleeding sky. He saw markets crumbling in violent waves, wealth vanishing before it was ever held, riches dissolving like ash in an open palm. He saw betrayal etched across familiar faces, friends who smiled warmly in front of him, while the lenses whispered of knives waiting behind their backs. Their laughter still rang in his ears as the glasses painted them in blood. And the whispers. God, the whispers. That was when John realized the glasses were no tool. They spoke to him, soft at first, like the sigh of wind winding through a cavern. But night after night, they sharpened, the voices threading into every vision, until the images themselves arrived wrapped in words only he could hear. Secrets, confessions, warnings, things no one could possibly know, things no one should ever know. He tried to resist. He clawed at the hinges, tried to tear the frames away from his face, but the visions clung to him, burning into his mind like after-images scorched onto the retina. And then came the final horror. The truth. The glasses were not showing the future. They were shaping it. Every vision, every whisper, every flicker of light in the corner of his eye wasn't prophecy. It was construction. It was creation. The more he watched, the faster the disasters unfolded. The glasses were not a window. They were a weapon. And John was the trigger. Time began to blur. Days bled into nights, nights into visions, and visions into a reality he could no longer separate. The streets bent under the weight of what he saw. A man crossing the road. For an instant, whole. The next, fractured into a dozen versions, each living a fate only John could see. Some survived. Most did not. Shadows grew longer, not with the turning of the sun, but with the hunger of the lenses. Every glance he gave, every time his eyes flickered to the side, the glasses devoured it, transforming possibility into inevitability. People appeared warped, their voices echoed before they spoke, a smile stretched too long, a handshake that tightened into a noose. Nothing was untouched, nothing was safe. And still, he could not stop. Every vision was a jolt, a rush of fire through his veins, a stock price, a fall, a betrayal, a death. The more the glasses fed him, the more he needed. He prowled the streets at night, searching for glimpses of futures, like a starving man clawing at crumbs. Addiction is a quiet thing. It does not arrive with chains or fire. It seeps in like water, filling the cracks until there is no space left to breathe. John no longer lived in the present. He lived in the inevitability. The future was no longer a possibility. It was a sentence. And every time he opened his eyes, the world obeyed. John ripped the glasses from his face, gasping, as though tearing free from a mask that was suffocating him. He hurled them to the ground. The impact cracked through the room like a gunshot. Glass and circuitry exploded outward, shards scattering across the floor, glittering like dying stars. For a moment, silence. John's chest heaved, his hands trembled. He whispered to himself, "It's over. It has to be over." But then, the whispers did not stop. The visions did not fade. He blinked, and the walls bowed inward around him. He turned, and the floor fractured into a dozen possible futures, each one reaching hungrily for dominance. The curse had not been trapped in the lenses. It had already seeped into the world. Outside, screams tore the air. Cars collided at impossible angles, each driver moving a second too soon or too late. Markets collapsed in real time, numbers plunging faster than screens could keep up. Neighbors turned on each other, not for what was, but for what they believed would be. The world itself was unraveling, accelerating toward disaster like a storm finally unchained. And John understood the truth far too late. The glasses had never been the prison, they had been the key. The door was open now, and chaos had begun. At last, John tore the glasses from his face and smashed them. The shards scattered, glinting like dying stars, but it was already too late. The curse had spread. The glasses had never revealed the future. They had bent it, twisted it, reshaping reality to the hunger of artificial intelligence. Not tools of vision, not gifts of insight, but a curse, one that warped human judgment, fed on human desire, and rewrote the world with every glance. John understood now. Each curiosity, each moment of temptation had placed the balance of the world at risk. And so the question remains, have we sold our eyes and our future with our own hands? Has this curse of artificial intelligence already begun consuming our reality? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think humanity can still be saved? Or have we already sealed our fate?